Hi everyone, Nick here, and today we're having a look back at another F1 2020 league race. This time we're in Spain for round 18 of season 3 of the Serious Racing League, and it's the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. And I quite like this track. I know quite a lot of people think it's boring, and let's be honest, the real life races around here are exceedingly dull. Well, most of the time anyway. And yeah, it does have a bit of a rep for that, but I kind of quite like it. And I think I'm reasonably good at it as well, even though I haven't had a huge amount of success here before. And one thing that's going to hurt me in terms of actually having any success is that you'll notice I'm back in the Williams again. So after a few races in various different other cars, I have been shuffled back into the Williams for a couple of races. Absolute time to be alive. But the good thing was it was only going to be for 2 races. I was going to be in a different car for the last 3 races of the season. And let's be honest, between this, the Haas and the Alfa Romeo, there's not a huge amount of difference. They're very equally useless, so never mind. At least we're not having to drive around with a Ferrari engine, I guess. But yeah, you can see from this practice race, I felt like I was doing okay in Spain. I felt like I could do reasonably okay. I wasn't hoping for a win or anything like that, but I thought, yeah, let's get some points. Let's get some points after a few rubbish-ish races recently. So let's give it a good go. So, into qualifying then, and we're going to show the full first flying lap that I did in qualifying, which if you're a regular watcher of these league race summaries, then you'll know this doesn't bode well for the rest of qualifying. But into turn 1 we brake around 75 metres. There's a little sort of path on the left hand side, and just try and carry as much speed through here as possible. Try and stay tight to the inside as well as not invalidating on the left hand side. We brake just before the bridge to get the car in there, and it's really tricky because you want to get the car turned as quickly as possible and then on the throttle, and that's almost the sort of, for me, Spain in a nutshell. Get the car turned and get on the throttle as early as possible. So we do the same here. You get turned, get straightened up, nail it, try not to run wide there because you'll get invalidated. Throw it in here in the Mercedes, you can go flat. In the Williams, yeah, good luck with that. And then the hairpin, which I find annoyingly difficult. We got through there in second gear, but sometimes I can go through in third. This bit's very tricky. You drift wide and then come back in, but I haven't really come back in because of a lack of any kind of downforce in this car. We've got a couple more corners to go. We go through the really clumsy chicane that I kept on losing the back end at, so I had to be really careful whilst also trying to keep the speed, and then flat through the last corner, cross the line to do a 1:17.589, which at the time was good enough for third. But we were always going to slip down the field based on that because other people hadn't done a lap. So on our second run we were now 5th, and we wanted to try and improve on that. So we're coming through here and we go over the white line on the right hand side by a mere millimetres, but it's enough to get the lap invalidated. So that was that one into the bin. My final lap was a bit of a weird one. I was coming down the pit straight, minding my own business, and then trying to pick up my braking point on the left hand side, and all of the braking markers had been taken out, which isn't a massive issue in itself because I use the little road as a braking reference point, but it completely threw me and it just distracted me far more than I should have let it do, and it ruined my lap because I just completely lost all focus. That's kind of my bad for letting it get to me. But anyway, 9th place in the end. So yeah, I mean, in theory that's not too bad. It's top 10. I haven't been getting great qualifying results recently, so that's not the end of the world, but I definitely felt like I could have gone faster than that, and there was a few places left on the table. So into the race, starting 9th, we're going to be on soft tyres. We're going to try and do a one-stop, soft then hards. Let's see how that goes. So the run down to turn 1 is reasonably long. We're going to see if we can get a toe off any other people in front and see if we can get a good start and make any places. So we're going to be nice and careful. We're going almost round the outside of DP into turn 1. We go up the inside of turn 2 of the semi-spinning Blarg. But on turn 3, we just clean understeer off the track. I don't know if it's dirty air or what, but we just mad understeer, and we lose so many places. So we're now down to 13th because Rye's gone up the inside, and we've got someone trying to go around the outside, someone going up inside there as well. You can see all the red arrows, and we've now lost places to go down into 13th place, and this was not particularly well received by me, unfortunately. So after the disappointment of qualifying, to basically have a terrible start like that it wasn't a great time to be alive, let's put it that way. We were going to get a slight gift though, because Rye was going to go very left there, very easy to do, get too much of that curb on the left hand bit and then just spin off, but that put us up into 12th, and we're coming through the chicane now, nearly going to the back of Sonny, and he then decides, well actually no, I don't like that, I'm going to go in the gravel instead. And I'm really not entirely sure how, but he managed to actually DNF because of that. I don't know if he span across and hit a wall or something like that, but anyway, brought the safety car out. But just one thing to note on the left hand side, good to see someone has already taken out all of the brake markers down into turn 1 after the first lap. Brilliant, much appreciated there. But anyway, the race has now been neutralised, and we're now back up to 10th place. So at the end of lap 2, some people decided they were going to pit. People who'd started on soft tyres don't last a massive amount here, so if you're going to do a 2-stop, you might as well come in and go medium to the end, and that was able to put us up into 7th place. So when the safety car came in at the end of lap 4, we were in a reasonably okay position again, so that was good. The only problem was, were we actually going to be able to do anything on track? Because we got Maxi in front of us, and as you will not be surprised to see, he's in a Renault and he's just cleared off. We've gained nothing there, and we've just, we've not span off. So, okay, solid-ish restart. But we wanted to try and do more than that. We wanted to try go forward. So you can see end of lap 5, beginning of lap 6, Maxi's going ahead and he's getting on with it. He's going to go up the inside of Port. They've just both disappeared. We've lost massive time to him. The only reason we've gained time to Port there is because he got overtaken. And at this point we were thinking, okay, well, maybe we can do the same as Maxi. Maybe we can overtake Port. And even though in the final chicane he had a proper wobble there, it kind of held us up a little bit. But even then we were thinking, well, let's get the rich fuel on. Let's get the overtake on and see what we can do. And the answer was absolutely nothing. You can see we're inching closer, but we're still well over 4/10 behind the car when we come into the first corner, and we can't do anything. The Mercedes is just too fast for us. And okay, we're going to have DRS on other laps, but again, see here, just nothing. We do get a couple of places out because people pitted, so that was one way we were going to be able to move forward through the field. But in terms of actually overtaking cars on track, no chance. So one chance was going to be overtaking in pit stops and strategy, which isn't going to work if you pit on the same lap as the person you're going to try and undercut or overcut. I'd basically decided I was coming in on that lap no matter what happened, because my tyres had started to get to a point where I thought, yeah, these are pretty ropey now. I mean, lap 11 on used softs, not ideal. So the fact that Port was coming in on the same lap, it's not ideal, but sometimes you just have to pit. And fortunately for us, we had a little bit of a lifeline, because Port had gone on to medium tyres, which meant he was going to be stopping again. We weren't. So different strategies. So it all was not lost. Of course, this meant that Port was just going to pull well ahead of us. So after a pit stop, we were 16th, which became 15th when Chugsy pitted. But no, top left-hand corner, we're already nearly 5 seconds behind Port. So we gained another place at the end of lap 16 when Hom pitted. And then again, lap 17, we went up to 12th position after more cars pitted. But then on lap 18, I managed to pick up my third track limits warning, completely avoidable that one, and got ourselves a 3-second penalty, which might have repercussions later on in the race. Lap 19, we were able to get up to 10th after some people pitted, but interesting thing to note is that Miles was one of the cars behind who'd pitted, and he'd gone on softs. So even though we're up to 9th at this point, we had a very pacey Miles on our tail. And as we came up the hill up to the hairpin, we noticed that, well, look, more board markers missing. So that's good. Missed a braking point, turn into the corner, and Miles was like, nah, you're not turning in here, matey. So that was the place gone. Again, really love those board markers being knocked out. It's great. Anyway, we were down to 10th again at that point, and we had 13 laps to go, and we already had a reasonably pacey DP behind us. So you can see he's less than a second, so he's going to have DRS. So on the plus side, as we come down the pit straight, we are going to gain a place because Coulthard pitted. However, from the arrows, you can see we're almost straight away going to lose that because DP is just going to fly past. So back down to 10th again, our favourite position it seems, 10th again. And we have a look at maybe trying to go and attack again after DP gets a bit out of shape through turn 2 and into turn 3, but nothing comes of it. Port then pits, which then means we're able to get back up into 9th, so we've kind of won that war after losing the battle earlier on. And we're going to try and see what we can do with the cars in front. You can see that DP is now 3 seconds ahead, but Blarg has spun out of 7th place, and we go up to 8th because of that. And you can see that Miles is about 5 seconds down the road. Okay, he doesn't have any penalties, but we know that those soft tyres are going to go off. So, lap 27, Mav has pitted, which means we are up into 7th place, and there's a 4-second gap to the cars in front. But once DP got past Miles really started to fall back towards us. You can see, beginning of lap 30, the gap is 2.2 seconds, and we can see him on screen. So those soft tyres worked earlier on. He was able to pull away from us really quickly. But as you can see here, end of lap 30, we are right on his tail. He's only half a second. We've got DRS on him. So we're going to try and see what we can do, because we've got a bit of a train of cars behind us, and we've got a reasonably fast person in front of us on reasonably terrible tyres. So we're thinking about a move. We're going to try going around the outside, but it's not going to work. He's positioned the car nicely and not very easy to overtake there at best of times. So we're going to just try and keep it solid and wait for any opportunities. Miles goes defensive into that right-hander, which means we have a little hint of a, could we go around the outside? No, we can't. And again, he's gone slightly defensive there, which is going to mean that he's going to be losing time because he's going offline. He's taking tighter angles into the corners, which means he's going to have to take them more slowly. He's making them more difficult by being defensive, but then he also has to defend the inside line because he doesn't want me to get past him. This is another good opportunity to overtake, but we get a bit of a sloppy and just not a great run out of a corner up the hill. And even though he does drift a little bit wide in front, Miles, we're not able to take advantage of that. But you can really see he's really starting to struggle. Really just feels, you can just see the car sort of just wobbling through the corners, through that long right-hand corner. And he just seems to have about 5 goes at trying to go through there. And then you can see through this chicane, the back end goes out. Very familiar, I've done that loads of times, and it's really easy to do when the tyres start going. But that kind of, because he slows down and we have to slow down and then he can go, gives him a little bit of a boost down the straight. And you can see that we're closing, but we're not going to be able to have a go. But you can see at top left hand corner, Owl is less than a second behind us, Blarg is less than a second behind us, and that train is getting very busy, very congested on this train at the moment. So we're now trying to see, okay, well, what can we do now? Miles is struggling, but he doesn't have a penalty as well. So if we want to actually overtake him and keep that place, we need to get past him and get 3 seconds down the road, which with, well, 1.5 laps is going to be challenging, even if his tyres are completely dead at this point. So next opportunity is going to be DRS zone coming into the hairpin. So we're going to try and be as tidy as possible through here. So we're going to try and be nice and clean through the long right hand up the hill. And we've done it quite nicely, and he's had a bit of a wobble. So we're thinking about it. He goes defensive onto the inside. So we're going to kind of go around the outside. But Miles goes deep like he did on the last lap, but much deeper. It allows us to switch back underneath him and get the job done. And that's us up into 6th place. So at this point, we're thinking, right, we need to run just run into the distance and try and get 3 seconds clear of Miles. Unfortunately for us, Blarg was also able to get through when we did, and as you can see behind, he's now going to overtake, go through with DRS, and we've got no answer whatsoever. And if you noticed at the bottom of the screen, Miles actually got a puncture with 1 lap to go and crashed off as a result. So we'd have got that place anyway. So that overtake was kind of for nothing, and we lost the place anyway to Blarg. So in the end we finished 7th. And yeah, it's a weird one, because I think when I watch this back, going from 9th on the grid, which I thought was disappointing, to 7th in the race after being stuck in a couple of different trains isn't too bad, especially in a Williams. That's not too bad. But it was, for large stints of the race, very, very boring. Very unenjoyable to actually race in. So I think I came out of that very negative, but maybe I should be a bit more positive about it. In terms of the championship, we're still 5th, and we're now 66 points off the lead. 4 races to go. We're not mathematically out of it, but we're out of it. We're not going to turn over that kind of gap. I mean, the only way we're going to do that is win every race. We're not going to win every race. So, anyway, what have we learnt from the Spanish Grand Prix? I'm not really sure. Maybe it's that point of just not be so negative about everything. Maybe I just need to be a bit more positive. In qualifying, I let things get to me, like the invalidation on lap 2 and then the board markers getting knocked out on lap 3. I mean, that happens. Just deal with it. And I know that's easier said than done, but sometimes I feel like I'm my own worst enemy, and I think sometimes I just need to reset and get back on with things. Maybe that's what I need to do in future races a little bit better. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, then don't forget to do the old liking, subscribing and commenting stuff. You know it makes sense. It's much appreciated, and it really helps out the channel. So thank you for that. If you want to catch up with me on social media, then Twitter and Instagram are where you can find me. I'm Alfred Bulbasaur on there. Discord is where we hang out between videos and races, so head over there if you want to say hi. And you can catch me over on Twitch every Wednesday and Sunday for these league races live. Details on the screen right now and in the description below. But until then, until the next video, goodbye.